Happy evening to everyone. Welcome to Mahipati Talks. As you know that as a part of this Mahipati Talks, we have been doing series of lectures, sessions by the experts in their areas. Now today we are going to talk about the importance of communication skills. Today's resource person, Ashalata ma'am. It's my privilege to introduce Ashalata ma'am, who has completed her Master of Arts in English from Usman University. She has also finished her postgraduate diploma in teaching English language from CFL. She has got more than 2.5 decades of teaching experience, teaching not only English, she is also an expert in teaching soft skills. She worked as a senior associate in Dell International Hyderabad. As you know that she has got both the blend of academics as well as the industry where she worked for Dell International Hyderabad. And she's extremely passionate about teaching. And as you know that, no, she has taught for 2.5 decades of teaching experience. All her students are in high positions, maybe in prominent positions in software industry and other industries too. And I can say that always the teacher is proud of their students. In the same manner, Ram Charan is the actor Ram Charan was a student of Ashalata ma'am. And she also has trained the employees of Dr. Reddy Labs and Infosys too in the area of soft skills. And you know that the most world sought after the public speaking skills, the Toastmasters. She was the part of the Toastmasters Club. And we are happy, ma'am. Please welcome to the session. I request now Ashalata ma'am to go ahead with the session of importance of communication skills.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful introduction. And let's go straight away into the topic. And before I go ahead with the topic, let me share my screen with you. Okay. I hope it is visible.
Yes. Visible, Asha.
Right. Uh, Thank you once again for joining this session on the importance of communication skills. Before I actually start with the importance of communication skills, let us discuss why communication skills. Why do we need communication skills? The communication skills basically is required for us to build relationships, yes, to build trust, and at the same time communication skills actually help us with preventing of problems. It provides a clarity, when two people are talking, if you are good at your communication skills, it helps you with clarity, and it creates better relationships. As I was talking to you earlier, communication skills make a person very productive. It increases one's productivity, and which means the workload can be managed better, can be managed better. And then it also helps and promotes in team building, and it increases engagement. When I say engagement, I mean to say that the duration of communication. So communication is basically important for all these reasons. And a few more aspects about communication skills and its importance. Now, as you know, communication skills is basically verbal and non-verbal communication, right? So verbal communication is ranked first when it comes to communication skills. As I already mentioned to you, you are able to understand people who are talking to you if you're good at your communication. At the same time, people also understand what you would like to convey, right? And then it helps you to manage interactions. Interpersonal communication is possible. Interpersonal communication is face-to-face communication is possible when you are good at it, isn't it? And then, as I said, non-verbal is also a part of it. Now, the moment we hear the word, communication, what comes to our mind first? Spoken language, isn't it? Speaking is what we all think is all about communication. But let me tell you something. The first aspect and the first importance that is given to communication skills is listening. Yes, unless and until we are good listeners, unless and until we are active listeners, communication skills doesn't play a vital role in our, day-to-day communication. So the importance of communication, let me go with my slide now. Yeah, here. What is communication? Communication is as important as breathing. Don't you agree with that? Any foundation of human relationship is based on communication. You cannot share a relationship or a bond without communication. So human relationship is possible through communication. And it is aptly said that it is as important as breathing. For you to be alive, you should be communicating. You should be we can't live in isolation, all alone and idle. It's difficult. Human life is impossible without communication. And then the next aspect of communication is where you use it to send and receive information. At the same time, communication actually helps you spread knowledge, isn't it? Now we've got so much of information about COVID-19. How is that possible? Only when somebody communicated to you, isn't it? Whether it is a person face-to-face communication, whether it is a media, the newspaper, in some form or the other, communication was actually communication was done regarding COVID-19. So it spreads knowledge, and at the same time, it helps you with your ideas, your feelings. You might have so many different creative, innovative ideas in you. How would you share it with people? Only when you communicate, isn't it? And then communication cannot be underestimated. It cannot be underestimated because it makes our life better. Communication, you should really experience what the deaf and the dumb are going through. They might have so many feelings. Of course, they have the sign language now, but then do you think it's easy as we do it? Yeah, we communicate our emotions, our feelings, our ideas, everything by speaking to one another. So this is going to be a very important aspect of our lives. Now coming to the next aspect, how to improve one's communication skills. Communication, in order to improve your communication skills, as I said, communication is a part and parcel of your life. And as I was talking to you, I was saying that communication is as important as breathing. So in order to improve the already existing communication skills in you, what should you be doing? You should make it a priority. Communication should make it a priority. This gives me an example. We prioritize so many things in our life, isn't it? The first thing these days is the mobile phone. Yeah, mobile phones are a priority. We cannot survive without a mobile phone these days. Now what do? We hold the mobile phone 24 by 7. Wherever you go, you're holding the mobile phone, right? And I have even seen people going to the washrooms with their mobile phone. That is the priority that they give to the mobile phone. In the same way, in case you want to improve your communication skills, make it your priority, make it your first choice, give it the utmost importance, and very soon you will be fluent in your language. Now how can you do that? You can do that when you associate yourself with successful communicators, people who are good at the language, people who are fluent with the language. Associate yourself with such people, which will actually help you improve your communication skills. That's very important. And then simplify your message. In case you want your communication to be effective, what should you do? Use very simple, basic communication language. Simple words. Don't try to complicate, words. I have seen people who are good at the language. They try to, show their vocabulary off. They try to show off their language. This actually complicates the situation. There might be, an audience who would not be able to understand what you are speaking. I don't know. The right example at this moment would be Sashi Tharoor. Have you ever heard him speak? The way he speaks, you actually should hold a dictionary in your hand to find the meaning of all the words that he's using in his language. So don't complicate yourself so much. When you speak, people should understand you. People should enjoy listening to you. That's how you should do. So try using simple words. Being straightforward is very, very important. Don't allow people, or don't put people in a situation where they will have to read in between the lines. Let there be no ambiguity in what you speak. Let it be straightforward, and let people be able to understand what you're speaking. That's another method of improving your communication skills. Now, engaging your listeners. Research has said that an active and attentive listener cannot listen to a speaker for more than 2.5 minutes attentively. That is what research has said. 2.5 minutes is the maximum that a listener is captivated by you. So in order to, make your listeners, listen to you or draw their attention, what should you do? You should invite their opinions. It should be it should be an interactive session. It's not you talking and talking and talking and not allowing the listener to talk. It should be more of an interactive session where you share your ideas and allow your listener also to share their ideas. That's another aspect of improving your communication. Now, coming to the next, point about improving your communication is take time to respond. Now, I have noticed my children as well as the students that I teach, they don't take time to listen to what the speaker is speaking. They are ready with their answers. They don't even wait for them to finish their sentence. They are up with their answer. Sometimes, such communication actually creates a lot of misunderstanding. So the first thing that you should do is listen carefully to what the speaker is speaking and then respond to the speaker at that point of time. And then make sure you are understood. When you are speaking, how can you make sure that you are understood? You should keep questioning, the people who are listening to you. Question them. When they answer, you would know that you have been clear. You have made yourself understood. So this is another thing that you have to keep in mind when you are communicating. And now coming to the next point. Yeah, develop your listening skills. Now, how would you develop your listening skills? As I already told you, you have to be a patient and attentive, active listener. You have to listen carefully before you actually start speaking, right? This is another, aspect which is actually going to help you with your communication. And body language. Body language, if you look at the slide here, it says 65% of our communication is non-verbal. Now, non-verbal is gestures, eye contact, your body posture, the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you walk, the way you speak, all these are being observed by the listeners. Unfortunately, today you're unable to see me because I'm showing you my slide, but then this is very, very important. Body language, is 65% of our communication. So a lot of importance should be given to the gestures. And the gestures that we use should be understood by the listeners. If you're using a gesture while speaking, the audience should be able to follow what your gestures are all about. And then maintaining eye contact is very, very important. Just imagine somebody who is talking to you and you're looking all towards all the four directions. You're not looking at the speaker. What impression are you giving the speaker? That you are not interested in what is being spoken. So eye contact, it does not only depend on the listeners, it is also with the teachers. The teachers or whoever is speaking should maintain a proper eye contact with their audience. That builds a very good rapport. You build a very good rapport with your audience when you look at them eye to eye. When I say eye to eye, I'm not asking you to stare at the speaker, and neither should the speaker stare at her listeners. That's going to give a wrong information again, isn't it? So eye contact should be equally distributed, among the audience that is in front of you to whoever you are speaking. That is also very important to improve your communication skills. And then respect your audience. The simple way of respecting your audience is just one thing: by paying attention. Pay attention. When you are speaking and you find that the audience is looking into their mobiles, they're fidgety, they're looking into their bags or running through some papers, it does not give you a good impression and you are distracted because the audience is not paying attention to what you're speaking. So in order to respect the speaker or the speaker respecting the audience, you should respect them by giving them attention, by paying attention to what they would like to talk to you, and they should pay attention to you by listening to what you would like to tell them. And then being friendly and open minded actually creates a very friendly atmosphere among your audience. In case you have a very gloomy, ferocious, sometimes ferocious look on your face, you are giving a very bad example to the audience. The audience would definitely not want to look at a person who's gloomy or who's not really has that disinterested look on the face, droopy eyes. What I would like to tell you here is being friendly and open minded is, please put a smile. Keep smiling even as you're talking. A smile is very contagious. The moment you smile, the audience is also smiling back at you, right? So smile creates an atmosphere of friendliness. Open-mindedness is, where you are allowing the audience to talk to you, not just you talking monotonously. You're also allowing the audience to talk to you. And then coming to my next slide. Okay. Okay. Now I would like to talk to you about something which is very important and very apt for our Indian situation, which is called Indianisms. Now, what is Indianisms? Indianism is the language that is spoken only in India. Yeah, and sometimes people who listen to us who are not Indians, native speakers, for example, the Americans and people from the other countries other than India, they might sometimes mistake your language, because in India it is very clear, everybody understands all those words and sentences that we are using, but this actually does not exist in their native language, right? So I would like to talk to you about Indianisms. Now coming to the slide on Indianisms. Yeah. Yes. Now, as I said, this is an exclusive term only in India, Indianisms. And the words and the phrases that we use are very common in our day-to-day language in India, right? We speak in India in such a way that, sometimes those words don't exist in the English language at all, but it is very clearly understood by us Indians. It looks like, most of the time it is translated. It looks like it is a translated version of Telugu to English, or, Hindi to English. Whatever is our mother tongue, native language, that is what we are translating it to be. And then we have another point here which talks about phrases and expressions that we use all of them. We use all these phrases and expressions in our Indian language, which is our Indian English. Okay, Indian English is different from what the native speakers speak. I'm going to give you examples very soon. And then, most of the time we are misunderstood, as I already told you. If you're speaking to a native speaker in Indian English, they tend to misunderstand you. They tend not to understand what is being spoken, because those words and those phrases don't exist in the original English language, right? Now coming to the next slide. Yeah, this is a very common thing that we all do, right? The first time that you meet somebody and you would like to introduce yourselves to one another, what do we say? We say, what is your good name, isn't it? Now, good name, we Indians think, is a very polite form of asking somebody for their name. It sounds very respectful in our culture, right? And we say, what is your good name? This is what we do. We don't say, what is your name? We just, and when we are speaking, you are also bowing down and saying, what is your good name? And good name, a person would have a good name when he or she has a bad name too, right? Whatever is our name, guys, whether we are Yadgiris, Pullayas, Mallayas, our names are always good, right? So unless and until you have a bad name, you can't be asked for a good name. I don't want your bad name. Tell me your good name. You can't do this, right? So that is not the right way of asking somebody for their name. In fact, the correct method of asking somebody's name is, what is your name? It's as simple as that. Don't use the word good. Good is, literal Hindi translation. Aapka shubh naam kya hai? We do that, right? So shubh naam here, shubh has become good here. So we have translated it, and then we are asking people for their good name. Now coming to the next thing, okay? Tell me something about yourself. A very popular question during your interview sessions, or even during your viva. When somebody asks you, tell me something about yourself, the first thing that we do is we start with myself. Myself, Asha. I'm an assistant professor in so and so college, and I teach English. This is how we do. Now, why shouldn't you use myself at the beginning of the sentence? Because myself is considered a reflexive pronoun, and it cannot be used unless and until the subject and the object are the same. The subject in the sentence and the object should refer to the same. Only then can you use the word myself. Now, for example, I've given a statement, a sentence here. I believe in myself. Now, myself is reflecting on the subject, isn't it? So, I and myself go hand in hand, and that is why it is considered a reflexive pronoun. And this is the way you use it. You can't start your introduction with myself. Rather, you should say, I am, or my name is, or this is, but don't start a sentence with myself. It does not give a good impression, to people who are listening to you when you start your statement with this, reflexive pronoun. Okay. Now, coming to the next slide. Oh, this is a very common word in the Indian scenario, isn't it? These days, it has become so popular that everybody has understood the meaning of biscuit. Yeah, it was a very funny way of me getting to know the word biscuit. For a poor English teacher like me, biscuit is a cookie which is eaten when you are hungry, isn't it? Biscuit is a snack. But then, biscuit in the English language has reached such heights and such peaks these days, everyone is using the word biscuit. Now, what is the meaning of the word biscuit? I don't have to tell you the meaning now because you're already smiling and I know what is the meaning of the biscuit. You know how you use it, right? But my way of learning the word biscuit was when I actually happened to speak to a student of mine and I asked him, like, why was he late for the class? And he told me, Madam, ఇవాళ ప్రిన్సిపల్ దగ్గర నేను బిస్కెట్ అయిపోయినా. I didn't understand what is this biscuit. I said, what is biscuit here? Then he started smiling and telling me, what is the meaning of biscuit? Biscuit is when somebody irritates you, when somebody is punishing you for something that you have done, when somebody is annoying you. There are every situation in Indian scenario has a different meaning for the word biscuit, isn't it? So biscuit actually is a cookie in the English language. It cannot be used the way we use. And the simple method is avoid using the word biscuit at all. Don't use the word biscuit because it is not appropriate. It is not correct in the English language. Okay. Now coming to the next slide. Out of station. This is again so popular in India. Yeah. Now, where were you during the lockdown period? I was out of station. Now, let me give you an example. If you're asking somebody to get out, yeah, get out of the room, where would you find that person after some time? That person would be standing out of the room, isn't it? If you say out of station, where should you be standing? You should be out of a station. Now, let me give you an example which will be easier for you to understand. A person called John came to visit me once, right? He wanted to surprise me, right? He wanted to surprise me. And then, when he wanted to surprise me, he came to Nampally railway station and he called me. And he said, Asha, I came to surprise you on your birthday. Where are you? And I immediately told him, I was out of station. I'm so sorry, John, I'm out of station. And John told me, I am right out of the station. Where are you? Now, how apt is that? Isn't it? It is correct. He was right out of the station and he was searching and looking for me if I would be found somewhere out of the station. So, out of station is where you are literally standing out of a station, a railway station, a bus station. If you're standing out of that station, then tell the person you're out of station. You can't go to your hometown or your some other place and talk to your friend and tell, hi, I'm out of station. You can't be out of station. You can only be out of town. You use that very popular phrase in English, guys. We use this when we say when we are not in town. This is the only word that we use. We have even written this in leave letters, isn't it? Last week I was out of station, so I could not come to college, right? So out of station, as I said, so use the correct format, use the correct method of speaking about staying out of town or being out of town. I was not in town or was not in city, but not out of station. You can do it if you're standing out of Secunderabad railway station or if you're standing at Kachigunda railway station. Stand out of the station and tell your friends you are out of station, but not when you are not at the town. All right? Okay. Now coming to the next word. Yeah, this is a very funny word, and most of us have used it, especially very common in schools, isn't it? 1 or 2 days you are absent, you are not attending school, you have to go with a leave letter, and this is a very common excuse that you give. Other than killing people, the very common example that we have been giving in school leave letters is we have killed grandfathers and grandmothers who were already dead. Yeah, I did it many times. I killed my grandfather and grandmother who were already dead many times as an excuse in the leave letter. And sometimes if much of killing has done, I used to go with this word, loose motions. Now look at the Indian creativity here. Let's look at these two words separately. What is the meaning of loose in English? Loose is something that is not tight, isn't it? Something that is not tight. When you say motion, what is the meaning of that? Motion is something which is moving. So here, Indian creativity at its peak. Now it is loose, it is moving, so it is loose motions, right? Because we do not know the right word in place of loose motions, which is diarrhea. In case you wrote this word, your teacher would have definitely asked you, what is this? What is the meaning of this word? Because most of us are used to loose motions and not diarrhea, isn't it? Right? So the right word to use, and this is very embarrassing also. When you say loose motion, the first thing that the person listens to you does is laugh at you, isn't it? Even if they don't laugh, then they're trying to conceal their emotions, at least a smile will sprout on their face, right? So the best word, and this looks quite decent when compared to loose motions. So diarrhea is the right word to be used. Now, when it comes to loose motions, I have another word which I can tell you. Another word in place of loose motions or in place of diarrhea is belly belly. This is acceptable. This is acceptable. Even foreigners understand this word because this is the word given by the native speakers of English. They have used the word Delhi Delhi. Now I'll tell you how this word actually came up. When foreigners visit India and they land in Delhi, there's so much of street food available in Delhi. Very spicy and tasty food. People don't eat much spices, spicy food in the foreign countries, right? So when they come here to Delhi, they binge on all this spicy food. And once they eat the spicy food, what happens to them? They are having this problem of acidity, gastric trouble. And when somebody asks them what happened, what's wrong with you, they say, I have a Delhi belly. Now, Delhi belly actually tells you that the food that was eaten in Delhi has given them this painful belly. So Delhi belly is understood by people who are the native speakers, because it is a word that that is given to them, that is given to loose motion by them or diarrhea by them, right? And at this time, I would also like to tell you something. Oxford Dictionary adds new words, in their dictionary every year. There are new words which are added, and these words are, popularly used all over the world. Words which everybody would understand. So, like that, they keep adding words, and one word which was added in the dictionary was prepone. Yeah, we use the word prepone so much. In case your exam is postponed, there are 2 or 3 more days. But in case it is, it is advanced, the right word is actually advanced, but then we Indians have started using prepone. Yeah, pre is something before, post is after. So prepone, this word did not exist in the English language, but Oxford has added it into their dictionaries. Now words like raita, chutney, naan, all these have been added into the dictionary. And so coming to the next word, head bath. Head bath. How many of you don't use this word? I have myself used it so many times. I used this word head bath so many times. It is a custom in our country, isn't it, to have a head bath on Fridays and Saturdays? Who would not understand in the Indian scenario if you say I had a head bath? Isn't it? There are so many people who, everybody would know what is a head bath. Now, what is head bath? Literal translation of talasnanam, isn't it? Talasnanam is the word which is literally translated into English where you say head bath, right? And if you go and talk to a native speaker and tell him or her, John, I had a head bath today, he will look at you and he will think that you only washed your head and not your complete body. But for us, the head bath is very pure, isn't it? We have a complete bath from the head to the toe, right? So head bath is, when you go to beauty salon, sometimes, when you go for a haircut, only your head, only your hair is washed, isn't it? That is a head bath, not when you are having a complete bath. And who would like to listen to you saying that you had a complete bath? Just say that you had a bath or a shower. That's enough. You don't have to specify, I had a head bath. If you really have to specify, just say you shampooed your hair, you washed your hair. That's all, but don't use the term head bath, which is actually funny, guys. But we have been using it, right? Now coming to the next one, Air Force. This was a shocking statement that was made to me. A student of mine that I met in a mall once, it was many years that I taught him, and then I happened to meet him suddenly. And I asked the student, I was very happy because he recognized me, but I did not recognize him. He came to me, wished me, and he spoke to me. And then I somehow recognized him and I said, oh, yes, Bhargav, I remember teaching you. Then I said, what are you doing, Bhargav? And he immediately told me, ma'am, I'm in the Air Force. I shook hands with him, When I stretched my hand towards him, he was smiling at me. And sometime later, he started laughing loudly. I said, what's wrong, Bhargav? Why are you smiling at I'm trying to shake hands because I'm so happy that you're in the Air Force. Then he said, ma'am, you are not updated. You have to update your language, your English language. I said, what? Then he said, Gali Tirigudu, literal Telugu translation. Gali Tirigudu is referred as Air Force in the Indian English language, which is not right, guys. You are in the Air Force only when you are working in the branch of military, right? If you're working in that particular branch of the military, if you go and talk to a native speaker, he will honestly think you are in the Air Force. He would never, even think that you are wrong in what you are communicating to him. So Gali Tirigudu is literally translated into Air Force. So don't do this, right? Okay. In case you are doing nothing, tell them you're doing nothing. Don't say I am free. You cannot be free and discounted. This is another word that we use. I am free. I'm not doing anything. You can't use that word. Tell them that you are doing nothing. You're looking, or you're working, or you're attending interviews. You're on the lookout for jobs. You're searching for jobs. The right method of conveying your sentence, but not saying that I am free and discounted or I am in the Air Force. Okay, this is not the right method of speaking to in English. Now coming to another one, a very popular word in the Indian scenario, right? Love marriage and arranged marriage. Now, love marriage and arranged marriage, there are so many different ways of using this in the Indian scenario. In India, you say love marriage, arranged marriage. There are also terms where you say love marriage come arranged marriage, where you use C-U-M come there. Yeah, isn't it? And another, all these experiences that I had with Indianisms were mostly from students, and sometimes with my friends that I used to communicate with. My student, once I asked him, how many types of marriages do we have in India? I was expecting him to come up with different cultures and traditions in India, but he stood up and told me, ma'am, it is love marriage, arranged marriage, and then he said love come arranged marriage, and the fourth marriage actually shocked me. He said jump. I said, what is jump? I didn't know what is the meaning of jump, very commonly used in the Indian scenario. Now, what is jump? Everybody in the class started laughing except me, because I didn't know what is the meaning of the word jump. Now, then I understood that jump actually means where the boy and the girl eloped to get married, yeah, without their parents' knowledge. All these don't exist in the English language at all. It is only marriage. Or there is another word which you can use, which is called a wedding. Now, what is a wedding? It is a ceremony which lasts for 5 minutes, 1 hour, 10 days, sometimes, depending on the culture and tradition that you follow. Marriage is a process of around 5 to 6 days. The haldi ceremony, the mehndi ceremony, the sangeet ceremony. There are so many, right? Some of them, follow a very huge schedule, a very big schedule of around 5 to 10 days. So that is a wedding. But, the outcome is marriage. The outcome of a wedding is marriage, and hopefully in our country it lasts longer, isn't it? Marriage lasts longer in our country, right? Thankfully, we still respect that institution called marriage here in our country. So I would rather suggest that you use the word marriage, or in case somebody's getting married, then live in front of you, use the word wedding, and don't use the terms love marriage and arranged marriage, and definitely not jump, because it does not exist in the English language. Now, the ninth one. This is something which is again very popular in our classroom situations, isn't it? Okay, let me ask you a question before I, continue with my session. The word doubt is, when do we use the word doubt? I always give these examples. When you're doing something wrong, and you are trying to convince your parents or your family members about what you've done is wrong. You're trying to convince them, trying to be very truthful and sincere. After you finish speaking, the person to whom you spoke looks straight into your eyes and says, I doubt. Now, what is the meaning of doubt there? It means that the person is suspicious about what you spoke, isn't it? The person does not believe what you spoke. But this is a very common word used by teachers and students alike. Once the lecture is done, the teacher asks the students, any doubts? And the student raises the hand and says, ma'am, I have a doubt. Now just imagine, guys, how dare you doubt your teachers? Yeah, you are suspicious about what your teacher taught. You are unable to believe what your teacher taught. So this is not right. And the same manner, in real situations, guys, when you really doubt, when you don't trust somebody, maybe you can use this word, but not in a classroom situation where you raise your hand and say, I doubt you, I have a doubt, right? But the right method of asking for something that you haven't understood or to be clarified is, sir, I have a query, ma'am, I have a query. Or the teachers, after they're done with their classes, they can ask the class, students, do you have any queries, right? But not asking the student for a doubt. Again, very commonly used in our country. Fine. Now, coming to the last word here, I have a few more words. Let me finish this with this word. Passing out batch, right? Passing out batch are the fourth years in engineering colleges, third years in degree colleges, second years in intermediate college, and 10th class students in the school. They are all passing out batches. Now, passing out in India actually means that they have completed their degrees. They have completed their final year. But do you know what is the real meaning of the word passing out? It means to faint, to become unconscious. Yeah, are we talking about those? They are so happily graduating and they are leaving college with so many goals and ambitions in their mind, and we say that they are a passing out batch. Yeah, we are forcefully asking them to collapse and become unconscious and faint them. Is that what we are trying to say? It is not, right? Passing out is not the right method of talking about students who have graduated. You would rather say there is a meeting with the 2019 graduates, or the students graduated. That looks more respectable, more honorable, and very sophisticated. So don't use the word passing out batch. Okay, and then coming to a few more commonly used words which I have not given a detailed expression on, but let me talk to you about this. Now we are talking about joint family and nuclear family, again a very common phrase in our country, isn't it? If you look at the word joint, what are you talking about? You are joining two things, isn't it? Or a chain is joined from one end to the other end, don't we join. Now in a joint family, are we living hand in hand? Yeah, are we putting our hand into your father's hand and this hand into your mother's hand? Are you all living like that, joint? That is not the meaning, right? So just because we are all living together, the Indian word for that is joint family. Nuclear family is another word. Nuclear family is actually to used with the word, with the family which is a small family, a father, a mother, and a son or a daughter. A small family is a nuclear family. Now this nuclear family is referred to that nucleus at the center. If you remember, you must have studied that in school. It is all alone in the center. So they added the word nuclear because they are all alone. They don't mingle with bigger families. They are all alone. They are separate. There is a small family. So no using joint family and nuclear family. It is either a big family or a small family. Don't, as I said, in the beginning, don't complicate yourself. Try speaking simple English language. That's very easy. And then band. If you remember, band is a word which is used so popularly even in newspapers. These days, of course, the most popular word is lockdown, right? So what is band now? Band is actually a Hindi word, band, which means to shut down. Yeah, band means a lockdown, as it is right now, lockdown. So this is a word which is a Hindi word which is used in top English dailies. They say Band tomorrow or Bharat Band on the 30th of July. Of course, it is not a Band. I'm just giving you that as an example. So Band is a word which is actually not existing in the English language. If you go and tell, native speakers that, it is a Band tomorrow in our country, they'll be surprised. What is Band? They don't know the meaning of that word. But this is very happily used as an English word in our, in India, right? And then fair and wheatish. Now these words have become very dangerous these days, right? After the black was, killed in the US, a police officer stabbed the person and he killed him. These words are very dangerous now. Fair. For us, what is the meaning of fair? Yeah, for us it means that somebody who's beautiful, has a good white color. That is what we call them fair. They are very fair, isn't it? So fair is actually not right. You should be fair in answering your questions. That is right, but not using the word fair and wheatish with one's complexion. What is wheatish? Again, Indian scenario. Wheatish is people who are not fair, isn't it? People who are dark skinned. Light skinned and dark skinned is the right word, but you can't say fair and wheatish. All right, so this is another word very common in the Indian scenario. Now cousin brother and cousin sister, co-brother, co-sister. Do you know who, now cousin brother and sister, most of us know because we have learned that it is not correct to say cousin, rather say brother and sister. We know this. But then now co-brothers and co-sisters. Co-brothers are Todu Allullu and co-sisters are Toti Kodal. So because they are Toti, we use that word Toti, we have added the word co there, which does not exist in the English language. You can only use the word brother and sister, aunt and uncle. We have Peddamma, Pednana, Chinnamma, Chinnana, right? I have seen people saying big father, small mother. I have even seen them doing this, which is actually not right. So don't use that. We don't have big fathers and small mothers in the English language. We either have father, mother, brother, sister, uncle or aunt, nephew, niece. These are the right words, but not cousin, brother. It could be your nephew or your niece. You say cousin, brother, cousin, sister. It is not acceptable. They will not understand what you're speaking, and it is also not correct English. So you need to understand this. And then another word, another phrase that we are using here is sitting on my head, eating my brain. Again, literal Telugu translation. Sitting on my head, na tala మీద కూర్చొని ఉన్నాడు. Eating my brain, na tala tintunadu. Literal Telugu translation into English. Again, this is not right. Instead of saying sitting on my head, eating my brain, use the word he or she is annoying me. He or she is irritating me. That's the best thing rather than using this. Eating my brain, just imagine an American's expression when he listens to us telling that I'm going to eat your brain now. Just, he'll be scared. He'll be running for his life now. Where is he going to scoop out my brain and start eating? Right? So this is another phrase which we need to avoid. Cut the call. Cut the call is, when you're on a call on your mobile and suddenly the call gets disconnected, you become so angry, you call them back and say, why did you cut my call? Yeah, what is cutting the call, guys? What is cutting the call? It's, how can we say cut the call? Cutting is literally cutting something with a pair of scissors or a knife, right? So you can't cut the call, rather you should say disconnect the call. Or why did you disconnect my call but not cut the call? Very simple, no, for us to speak such language. Why should we go with difficult words like disconnect? So use the word cut the call, right? And then this is puncture. Now puncture is again given so many different spellings. You'll find those push cards and small stalls along the roadside where you have this word written as puncture. Have you heard of this? Have you seen them? Puncture, right? And they have all those tires hanging out, and it gives you a signal that it is a shop which is going to repair the tire. Now, instead of using the word puncture, right, or instead of using the word puncture, what do you think is the right word to use? You should rather say, I have a flat tire, rather than saying puncture. Puncture is literally removing air out. You can't use it there. You did not do it purposely, isn't it? Somehow the air was depleted and you have to get it repaired. So you should say that I have a flat tire and I need it to be repaired. All right. And then I am here only. Again, literal Telugu translation. Ikkade unna. We do this, right? So that stress is again shown in our English language. We say I am here only. Only means one. Yeah, only means one. When you are referring to something which is one, he is the only son, she is the only daughter. Such terminology is acceptable, but not like this where you say I am here only. And another popular word in the Indian scenario is the word mixi. I was surprised to see the prestigious company like Prestige also using this word on their carton boxes where they have that mixi, the so-called mixi packed in it. Okay, mixi, again, Indian scenario. Very easy, right? Early in the morning, mummy is doing something on the mixi. Early in the morning, wives are doing something on the mixi. They ask you to bring the mixi. Isn't, we have heard so many parents and people doing this. Bring the mixi. Now, what is, according to the Indian, what is a mixi? Mixi is, a jar or a gadget where you're actually mixing, different ingredients like coconut and groundnuts and green chilies, isn't it? We make our popular chutneys in South India. So because you're mixing all these ingredients, you have renamed it as a mixie itself. And most of us Indians know it as a mixie, right? When I keep asking, my students in the class, sometimes, they start laughing and they tell me, no, it is not mixie, it is blender and grinder. Honestly, tell me how many of us use this word? Instead of a mixie, do we really use the word grinder and blender? We don't, right? Mixie is so easy, so catchy, and so simple to, speak about it. So we use the word mixie, which is again not right. And then coming to the last word here, snap. Yeah, snaps are so popular these days, guys. We all take a selfie. We all take a snap on our mobile, don't we? That is a snap. Now, do you know what is the meaning of the word snap? Snap is to literally cut something. You cut something and that is snap. So what are you cutting here? Yeah, are you cutting your mobile into two? Are you cutting yourself into two that you say, let's take a snap? How can you take a snap? You would rather say, let's take a picture or let's take a selfie. That is acceptable, but not snap. You will use the word snap only when you're cutting something, when you're using it to cut something. Snap it. You snap the plant. You snap it, right? So that is the right way of using the word snap, and not in the scenarios that we have just spoken about. I hope this was a knowledgeable session. At least if not, it was not very important, you at least must have learned a few words which we have been using for a long time now. And at least now I think we should cut down on what we have been speaking and start speaking correct English, isn't it? Right? Okay. Another word before I close is the word sorry. This is again so popular, right? The word sorry. It seems when the Britishers left our country, free, the elders, our elders used to tell us. They said that people use two words in English continually even after the Britishers left us, and they left us with these two words. What are these two words? The first word is sorry, and the second word is thank you. You will find so many of us Indians using these two words at least once in a day. We use the word sorry and thank you, isn't it? So sorry actually is not the right word. The correct, method or the way of using the word sorry, at least the native speakers use it this way. They say sorry when they physically injure somebody. Physically injured. When you see somebody bleeding, when you see that there is a rash, and you are the reason for that rash or that bleeding. That is the time when they use the word sorry. Imagine our Indian scenario. You hit somebody on your, on their bike. They fall down and they are bleeding from their knee and their elbow, and you go and say sorry. Do you know what is their reaction? Yeah, they are going to slap you, isn't it? And then again, Indian scenario, we use the word give him a tight slap. Yeah, tight is gattiga in Telugu. That is added to the English word, and we say give him a tight slap. Don't we do it? So this is what will happen if you talk to an Indian when you've injured him and you go and say sorry. So, but the right word, guys, to use in place of sorry is apology. I apologize. But rather than using the word sorry, unless and until you have injured them, don't use the word sorry. Rather say I apologize. Okay, and then I think I'm done with my session. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than willing to answer them.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. Now it's open for the queries. Now that we should be very careful. Any doubts? If you say they'll get a doubt, is it a doubt or a query? So thank you so much. And now it's open for everyone. You can ask any queries, please, if you have any queries.
Yes, sir. Can I?
Please go ahead, Dr. V. Murli.
A very good evening, sir. Good evening, Asha madam.
Good evening,
So
sir.
this is like a muesli for me in this evening session. Exactly at around 5 o'clock, sir has organized this. It's a mixing of something. We always in our Indian context we do so many things. Unmindfully, we take some words and expressions.
Yes, yes.
But when it comes to the class point of view, when we want to teach English to the students, professional students, we should be very, very careful to take such words into the classroom.
Yes.
That's good. You gathered so many such words and expressions. How we are completely being Indians, we are Indianizing our English.
Yes,
Nice
yes.
it is.
Truly, that's why it is
Good.
called Indianisms. Thank you. Thank you.
That's nice. It is good take up, good decision. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, sir. Good evening. Sir, madam, thank you very much for the session. Ashalata, madam. That was very nice.
Thank you, sir.
A simple doubt, actually.
You again have a doubt, sir?
A small doubt. Actually, it's not a doubt. I always have in my mind. It's a kind of, no. When I say, when my students say, sir, I have loose motions, I can understand. And the student is also very happy. And when if I say our student says I have no, I'm suffering from diarrhea, I don't understand, and student also no doesn't understand.
Exactly.
So what is the no when we both understand whether it is Indian English or whether it is any other English, how does it matter? No, when we both are comfortable and we both can manage communication. And one more thing, when I say like something else, write English, that fellow won't understand. I may not understand. Then when Indian English is becoming famous in India, what is wrong? That is my doubt actually. For me only, I have a lot of contemplation in my mind from since long back. No, whatever you said is right, but that is what I guessed out. Because we are living in a place where like duplicate is ruling everything.
Yes.
Original is there, but duplicate rules.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
one. No, I'm out of the station is a duplicate. But
Yeah.
when I say I am out of the station only, I can understand, and that fellow also will understand.
Yes.
No, when I'm in the town, I am out of the town, that fellow won't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So when duplicate is ruling, no, why can't we take duplicate and rule? That is my question. No, whether you consider it as a question or a doubt, no, that is what I wanted to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
With due respects to you, I really accept and appreciate your question. When I was giving you this session, if you remember, I was continually telling you that when we speak to a native speaker, a person, whose native language is English, when you talk to them and you tell them I was up to loose motions, it's going to create some confusion in them. What loose and what is moving, he would not understand because they don't have it in their language. So Indian scenario, we understand everything, guys. What I just spoke about, all these words are commonly used by all of us, isn't it? Biscuit has become so common these days. Sometimes, though I'm teaching you this or I'm talking about this, I have myself, used the word biscuit. Yeah, I use the word biscuit. Indian scenario acceptable, but then when you are speaking to somebody who's a native speaker of the language, it becomes difficult. That was what I was telling you. We are managing our lives that way. You speak, loose motions. I speak loose motions. That's acceptable actually because we understand it. And the problem with us Indians is also another thing. Diarrhea is a spelling which is a little difficult for us to write down. You have a doubt. You have a doubt. Is this the correct word? Correct spelling that I'm writing. So most of us use the word loose motion because the spelling is easy and the understanding is also quite easy. So I was talking about the scenario where you're talking to a native language speaker, where it is going to be difficult. We can use this language in India. That's why it is called Indianism.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, thank you, ma'am. But no, we should change native speakers also, ma'am, because this language is very easy comparatively.
In fact,
I
sir,
think, madam, this is my opinion only.
yeah,
It may
yeah,
not be right because diarrhea spelling is very difficult. Loose motion spelling is very
exactly.
easy, madam.
That's what I was telling you. If you look at the
Yeah,
Oxford Dictionary, sir, I was talking to you, they are
yeah.
adding new words to the dictionary. You know
Yes,
why they
madam.
are adding the words? Because they have become very popular all over the world.
Yes, madam.
And I
Yes, madam.
always tell my friends, I will not be
Hmm.
surprised to find the word biscuit with a different meaning in the dictionary because it is so
This is
popular
what
in our
exactly,
country.
madam. Biscuit, understood
Yeah.
very well
Mm.
with the different meaning rather than the original meaning.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, when you say biscuit, no, I understand very well. When I say you understand very well, we
Yes,
forget the real biscuit. Now we have
exactly.
to change their no native speakers. We have to change, madam. That is our task. I think next time, how to change native speakers' mindset. No, that is what. No, I expect you. Thank you very much, madam.
I
Thank
think
you
we
very much.
should do that session, sir. I think you should take that session.
I'll try, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much for the wonderful session, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, Guru Charlin Kocharla. Next, anyone else?
Sir, excuse me, just
Ruby
I would
ma'am,
like
please
to
go ahead.
appreciate, please, I would like to appreciate Asha for making us aware of so many Indianisms. We use them. Usually we say you lose vowels and mixer grinder. Today we came to know that we are not supposed to use them. It's a wonderful, valuable session, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Asha. All the
Thank
best.
you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Ruby ma'am. Yeah, if anyone else would like to ask queries, now I should be very careful about between the query and the doubt now. Yeah. If no more questions are there now, I'd like to propose vote of thanks. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you, Ashalata ma'am. It was really wonderful, as Dr. V. Murli rightly said that. No, it was like evening 5 o'clock. It was refreshing ourselves and to know what Indianisms that we are using in day-to-day life that we are not supposed to know, because as long as, and especially when it comes to the English teachers and trainers, we are supposed to avoid those things and we should learn. If you don't speak, then naturally the students may understand, but you should bring the students to our level and we should not go to their level, number one. As Gurucharan rightly said that, no, it depends upon with whom you are speaking. No, like if you are speaking to the native speakers, definitely you need to use these things. And I hope that Gurucharan may put his efforts to change native speakers. No, I don't think that that's the right way of doing it. Instead of because we are in global. Okay, that's the reason we need to learn language in the right manner. We should use correct vocabulary. That's very important. Need of the hour. Now that's the reason sometimes when Indian English teachers speak, some people appreciate, some people don't appreciate. The reason is that a lot of Indianism is there. But of course, there's a lot of debate happening that the Indianism is accepted or not accepted. Do we need to follow Britishers, not to follow Britishers? That's one area. But really, your session was real. Every point, whatever the examples that you have given, maybe daily people use them regularly. That's I like the session. I hope that everybody will try to change, because that's very important. Improvement is very important. When you want to make others understand, that's good. But at the same time, you need to. Now we are not thinking about local jobs and local scenarios. We are talking about global citizenship. We are talking about global employment. When you want to get global employment, we need to have the right words and the right place. It was a wonderful session given by Asha Lata ma'am. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for making us. No, I was just going through all the vocabulary that you use. Maybe sometimes we feel like they are the right vocabulary also. We made it such a way that familiarize that way that it is a general vocabulary is correct. But of course, it is Indianisms. You have given the examples for each and every point. It was a wonderful session. I thank Ashwini, Ruby ma'am, Vinay, Dr. Murali Krishna, Sri Mahalakshmi, Gayatri Mahipati, Gurucharan Kocharla, Gangapuram sir, and Akila S. Everyone, thank you for making your time. It was fruitful. I hope that you will implement them and improve your language skills. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
ma'am.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Sir, thank you
madam.
for giving us this opportunity and privilege.
Thank you, madam. Hope to see you in the next session.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank
sure.
you, ma'am.
Right. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.